this is the Just Peachy Intervention Lady. I wanted to make a quick video to show you how I use my partial quotient division mats to make division clearer, more structured, and way less stressful for our learners. I don't know about you, but I have literally seen panic-stricken looks the moment I say, we're going to work on division today. So many of our students, especially English language learners and those who have struggled before, walk into these lessons already feeling defeated and like a failure. That's why breaking everything into clear routines and bite-sized steps is so important. When students see a process they can follow and start noticing patterns, they start to build confidence, reduce frustration, and finally experience success with division. In this video, I'll walk you through each work mat, explain the key components, and then model a full problem on the universal work mat so you can see and hear the exact process I use when teaching the partial quotient division method. Let's get started. Before I introduce students to grade level division problems, I always start by building the foundation, understanding that division is simply repeated subtraction. Once students can show that they truly understand this concept, we transition to larger, more complex problems. This step-by-step approach helps them feel grounded, more confident, and ready for the partial quotient method. So, you do not need to start with this work mat, but I find that if I start with this repeated subtraction work mat, which mirrors the look of some of our other partial quotient division work mats, I find that it helps transition them into using the other mats. But I will say, all of these work mats are scaffolds to help the children feel more confident, and eventually we're going to start taking them away. But I wanted to show you the process that I use when teaching division so that you can understand and apply it with your students. All right, so I'm going to start with a very simple, basic problem. I always have them write the equation in these boxes. 32 divided by 8 equals. So we're going to start. We always put our larger number, the dividend, inside, and we're putting our divisor outside the box. Now, at this point in time, I'm going to start talking about how many groups of 8 can we take away from 32. So we are not going to be doing any multiplication here. We are simply going to be doing repeated subtraction and seeing how many groups of 8 I have to take away from 32 to get to 0. So I'm going to start by doing this. I'm very, very intentional about where I write things and how I do things because these are the steps that help our struggling learners and our ELs. So I'm going to begin by saying, I'm going to take away one group of 8. And then I'm going to draw my line and I'm going to write the digit 8. Then I'm going to subtract. While I'm doing this, I am also just reviewing constantly. Where do we start when we subtract? Oh, very good. We start in the ones place. I have 2. Can I take away 8? No. What do I need to do? I need to go to the tens place. I need to regroup. I cross out the 3. I'm taking one group of 10 and I'm giving it to the ones place. Now I have 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 2 minus 0 is 2. So I'm not going to go through that process for every single part in this subtraction problem. But I just wanted to reiterate that when you're working with ELs and children who are struggling, that repetition is really important. Every single time, same process. All right, so have we gotten to 0 yet? No. Okay, let's take away one more group of 8. How many groups am I taking away? 1. One group of 8. I draw my line. I'm subtracting that one group of 8. I'm not going to bore you with the subtraction process, but there we go. Am I at 0 yet? No. Okay, let's take away one more group of 8. Same thing. I'm taking away one group of 8. 16 minus 8 is 8. Am I at 0 yet? No. Let's take away one more group of 8. One group of 8. Take away 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. Did I get to 0? Yes. Super. So is 0 my answer? No, 0 is not my answer. How many groups of 8 did we take out of 32 to get to 0? We took away 4 groups. So 32 divided by 8 is 4. Now, obviously, if you have students that have a strong command of their multiplication facts, when they see 32 divided by 8, they might say, well, I know that 4 times 8 is 32, so the answer is 4. However, I work predominantly with students who are in our early intervention program and students who are learning the English language. So most of the time that does not happen. So setting up this procedure and this structure is really important as we move on to harder problems. So as you can see, I have 2 more spaces. I'm not going to show you 2 more problems, but you can get the general idea of how we begin. Once they show me that they understand this process of repeated subtraction to solve a division problem, then we're going to move to something a little bit harder. Let me go ahead and talk about my next work mat. The next work mat that I want to talk about is the partial quotient division work mat. You'll notice the same structure right here as in the last repeated subtraction work mat. Again, mirroring the same thing so that they can see the connection between what we just did with the repeated subtraction and doing the partial quotient division method really helps the kids. This is kind of like the confidence booster, like, hey, maybe I can do division. And then this is really just scaffolding for them and setting them up for success. All right, so let's begin. I am going to grab one of the task cards from my Division Dash challenge that I have on Teachers Pay Teachers. 245 divided by 5. So I'm going to start by writing my equation here in the box. And then I'm going to set up my problem, putting my divisor and my dividend in the correct location. Now, let's talk about this help box. This might be something new to you. This has been transformational with giving the students the confidence to do division. So what we do is we talk about every single time we do a help box, we always put the divisor in the first spot. So you'll notice in the next mat, like everything is always the same exact pattern. And especially for our English language learners, like finding those patterns is so important. So here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and put 5 down the whole help box really quickly. Now, I am going to do another tutorial on how I use my multiplication work mats, but something that we do with doing the area model with multiplication is, again, we set up those structures and those routines. So 5 times 1, we underline those digits. 5 times 1 is 5. Same thing here. A lot of times kids freak out. Oh, I can't multiply 1 digit times 2 digit. That's too hard. I can't do that. So again, we go back to the power of 10. We start by underlining the first digit. 5 times 1 is 5. And then we put a dot under the 0. We have 1 0, so I add 1 0. 5 times 10 is 50. So I'm not going to continue that same structure the whole way just because I'm doing a tutorial. But with your students, I strongly encourage you to continue just being very explicit and stick with the routine. Every time we multiply, this is what we do. We underline 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10. I have 1 0. I add a 0. 15 and 150. This is also really neat because a lot of times the kids will start, after you do a few problems, they'll start picking up on the pattern that they see with the power of 10. All right, once we have our help box, this is how I approach the partial quotient division process. We always begin by saying, how many groups of 5 can I take away from 245? This right here, these are our groups. And oftentimes I will highlight it to remind them that you have to tell me how many groups we're going to take out first. So most of the time they'll say, oh, well, 150 is the largest number in the help box that we can take away without going over 245. So at that point in time, I'll say, how many groups of 5 can we take out? So they'll tell me 30. So again, the same procedure and the same structure that I followed in this repeated subtraction work map. I'm going to take away 30 groups of 5. Draw my line and my subtraction sign. 30 groups of 5 is 150. At this point in time, I'm going to subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5. I must regroup. Again, I'm not going to go through everything because I believe that you saw my first part of this video. But again, it's just going over the routines and using the same verbiage all of the time. Where do we start when we're solving a problem? Oh, we start in the ones place. Excellent. Can I subtract 0 from 5? Yes. Can I subtract 4 minus 5? No. What do I have to do? Regroup. What do I have to get? A group of 10. Just being very consistent with using the same verbiage is really important, and the same steps every time. Okay, so let me continue. So we've got 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. 1 minus 0 is 0. All right, same thing. We're going to go through the same process. How many groups of 5 can I take away without going over 95? At that point in time, hopefully somebody will say 10. So I'm going to take away 10 groups of 5, which is 50. 5 minus 0 is 5. 9 minus 5 is 4. All right, perfect. How many groups of 5 can I take away without going over 45? Well, let's see. I can take out 3 groups. Let's take out 3 groups of 5. 3 groups of 5 is 15. 5 minus 5 is 0. 4 minus 1 is 3. All right, how many groups of 5 can we take out next? Oh, looks like we can still take out another 3 groups. So 3 groups of 5, again, is 15. 30 minus 15 is 15. All right, how many groups can we take out again? Oh, we can take out 3 more groups. And we finally got to our zeros. So that is the structure that I use when teaching the partial quotient division work mat. Now, you're probably saying, wait a minute, we could have gotten there so much faster. Yes, we totally could have. And that's going to come, but this is the starting line. This is where we get the kids confident in how to use the help box, how to properly write the problem, where everything goes, because it can be overwhelming. But again, if you follow the same steps, the same procedure every single time, I promise you, it will be successful. I actually have a student who is brand new to the country and speaks limited English, like very, very little. And he is successfully working on grade level standards in division with success, all because of these steps that we scaffolded to set him up for success. So that was just a little side note, but I'm really excited about that. Okay, so at this point in time, we talk about, is our answer 0? No, our answer is not 0. We have to take our partial quotients, which are right here. This is our number of groups of 5 that we took out, and we're going to add them up. Now, a lot of times the kids want to just quickly add them up here. Yes, they can do that, but sometimes there's mistakes. And when we get into larger numbers that we're dividing, it can get a little bit more confusing when you have a number that's 3 digits, then 2 digits, and 1 digits. Like lining up the digits in their correct place is really important. So I'm going to show you why I put this place value chart right here. And that's really just to help them line up the digits correctly so we get the right answer. Again, it's procedures and routines. All right, let's take our first partial quotient, 30. I'm going to check it off as I put it over here. Bring over the 10, bring over the 3, bring over the 3, bring over the 3. Now again, I know that that's redundant and you're like, well, we could have just put 9 over there. Yes, we could have, but again, these are students that are struggling. So we're gonna go ahead and add. We've got 9, 3 plus 1 is 4. So 245 divided by 5, and I do make them write the quotient back up here with the equation. 245 divided by 5 equals 49. So this is mat number 2 that I use when teaching division using the partial quotient method. All right, let's go ahead and I'm going to show you my next work mat. All right, this is the third work mat in my partial quotient division work mats that I use. You'll notice it is the exact same setup as this one, except you will notice that the help box contains some larger numbers. So the reason why it contains larger numbers is because we're going to solve a larger equation. So let's take a look on how we do that. I'm going to solve this problem, 2,448 divided by 8. Again, I always make them write the equation up here. Once we've done that, we always remind them our divisor goes outside and our dividend goes inside the box. And we're going to start working on our help box. We have a divisor of 8, so 8 is all the way down. We are always taking that divisor and multiplying it. So we are going to start with 8 times 1. And here's that procedure again that I talked about that we established with our multiplication work mats. 8 times 1 is 8, 1, 0. 8 times 1 is 8, 2 zeros. Now, the kids are going to start picking up on this pattern, I guarantee it, but I always like to reiterate, this is how we do it, because as the numbers get larger, they do start panicking a little bit, and so they just get that reminder, hey, listen, yeah, I know it's a big number, but remember the power of 10. 8 times 3 is 24. 1, 2, 2 zeros, add my 2 0. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Same procedure as before with the other work mat. We have 2,448. How many groups of 8 can I take away from 2,448 without going over? So remember, make sure you cue them in on this is our number of groups that we're taking away. So I'm going to take away 300 groups of 8. So I always write the number of groups first, draw my line, and now I'm going to subtract 2,400 from 2,448. I'm not using all of the verbiage that I would use because I've already gone over that with you. But again, I know you sound like you probably feel like a broken record, but it is so important to cement that in their brains. And the more you do it, the more confident they're going to get with their math ability. All right, so we have 48. What can we take away without going over 48? Oh, I can take away 3 groups of 8. So 3 groups of 8 is 24. 8 minus 4, 4 minus 2. Oh, look, I can take another 3 groups of 8. 24. 24 minus 24 is 0. Perfect. I have solved this problem in 3 steps. Now, again, same procedure. We're going to take the partial quotients, 300, move it over here. My 3 in the ones place, 3 in the ones place, and my quotient is 306. I want to talk a little bit about the really neat thing. The help box is exactly what it's called. It's the help box. The neat thing about this is, as the students get a stronger command of their multiplication facts, they don't need to rely on this as much, and then they start being more creative. They're like, oh, wait a minute. Hey, I know that 8 times 6 is 48, so instead of having to take out 2 groups of 3, I can just take out a group of 6 and have 48. 48 minus 48 is 0. So that will come as you practice more and they start to become stronger with their multiplication facts. So this is how I use this work mat. I'm going to show you the last work mat that I use, and that is once they have a strong command of how to use the help box. Again, everything is designed to take away, they're like the training wheels, right? So these are the training wheels to help them feel confident and be successful. And we're slowly going to take away those supports until they can do it on their own. All right, let's take a look at the next mat. All right, so this is the last work mat before I'm going to completely take all of the work mats away from the students. So once they're able to work a problem out using this pretty confidently, at that point in time, I'm going to remove the training wheels and I'm going to say, okay, now I want you to do it on a piece of paper. So remember, I am an interventionist and I do work pretty much all day long with students who are struggling and are in the EIP program or who are learning the English language. So I just want to go quickly through how I walk them through going from the support of having the help box made for them to making the help box by themselves. I'm not going to go through how to solve the entire problem again because it is exactly the same process that I've talked about using this work mat and also using this work mat. I use the same verbiage every single time, but you haven't seen how they make their own help box, so I do want to go over that. So we always write our equation that we're solving. Once we've written it in the box, then we're going to set it up at on our partial quotient mat. Our dividend goes inside, our divisor outside. Once I have this established, they have done this enough on the other work mats to know that we always use the divisor to build our help mat, and then we rely on the powers of 10. So I'm going to start with 6 times 1. Then they know after 6 times 1, 6 times 10. Same thing. We talk about following that routine. 6 times 1 is 6, 1, 0. Then 6 times 100. Same thing. Again, following the same routine. And at this point in time, this is where I ask them, all right, so would it make sense, should we stop here at 6 times 100 and then move to 6 times 2? Or would it be a good idea to try 6 times 1,000? And so at that point in time, they're going to say, well, 6 times 1,000 would be 6,000. 6,000 is larger than 4,356. So no, that is not going to help us in our help box. We're going to stick with 1, 10, and 100. So once we've established that, then we're going to simply follow the pattern over and over again. We're going to go to 6 times 2, 6 times 20, 6 times 200, and then we're going to go to 6 times 3. And oftentimes I get asked by my colleagues, at what point in time do you stop, like where do you stop the help box? Like do you keep on doing it all the way to, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? No, you don't. The help box is exactly that. It's there to provide them support if they need it. but there is going to come a time where they're going to become stronger with their math facts, and they're going to start seeing the patterns and realize, oh, wait a minute, instead of solving this problem in 6 steps, I can solve it in 3 steps. And they really enjoy figuring that out, and that's really fun to see. Ooh, made a mistake here. That's what happens when you're too busy talking and not focusing on what you're doing. Okay, just pretend I didn't do that. There we go. So once, let me just fix that. It's gonna bother me. Okay, 180. So once we have our work mat, could I go to 6 times 4 is 24, 240, and 2,400? Yes, I can. Honestly, if I were solving this problem, or if I had a student solving this problem, I would probably say, hey, why don't you go ahead and do 6 times 4? Because I think that's going to help you to solve the problem faster. And most of the time, they want to do that. So they will be on board to add to their help box. But honestly, I'd probably go ahead and just stop here. And at that point in time, I'm going to follow the same exact procedure, same exact routine and verbiage to solve the problem. Take a look. How many groups of 6 can I take away without going over 4,356? Oh, I can take away 400 groups. I put my groups here, and 2,400, and go ahead and subtract. Again, I'm not going to solve this whole problem. I really just wanted you to see how the children can build their help box and go from there, but I use it the same exact way. Once they have shown that they understand and can use the help box and use the partial quotient division mat without much help and support anymore, that's the point in time where I'm going to say, okay, here's a piece of paper. And same thing though, I'm going to walk them through. First, we write our equation. After we write our equation, we're going to make our partial quotient mat. Then we're going to put our equation into our mat. Once we do that, we're going to create our help box. Sometimes they like to write help box, sometimes they don't. I don't make them do it as long as they know that they need to make their help box. And then they're going to start. I start with my divisor, times 1, times 10, times 100. I have to decide, am I going to go to 1,000? Nope, that doesn't make sense. So you kind of get the point. But again, everything is very routine, procedures, and I literally, at the end of the day, sometimes I feel like I could just record myself and press play over and over and over again, because I say the same thing every single time. But it's working. I would love to hear any feedback if you decide to try these work mats out for yourself. I would love to hear what you think. All 4 of these work mats are included in this new Division Dash task card challenge that I have uploaded onto Teachers Pay Teachers. So I have 24 of these adorable task cards with the little pies, and they are going to be racing to the finish line to their piece of pie in the Division Dash. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope your students enjoy this, and I hope they find so much success and confidence in how to divide. If you have any questions, or if you are like, oh, I really wish that you had this, or I really wish that you would add this to something, please let me know. I'm learning the whole Teachers Pay Teachers store, and truly I want to be a blessing to you and to your students and help them be successful. Thanks so much for tuning in. I know this was a pretty long video, but I hope it helps you understand how to use these work mats. Bye-bye.